Okay, so we live here on app. So, am I live? Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about Dr. Sebi today. So, here's the food list. See, it has vegetables, fruits, all natural herbal teas, right? The herbs, uh, some grains, nuts and seeds, oils, spices and seasonings, mild flavors, and then pungent and spicy flavors, and salty flavors and sweet flavors. Okay. I like to read out of this book written by Aquila Nice called Alkaline Herbal Medicine, Reverse Disease and Heal the Electric Body. Okay, that's the book. It says the indigenous biomineral balance supports the healthy expression of the indigenous genome in all people. Okay. Now, excuse me. Okay. So this is says alkaline plant food. Okay. Okay. So I get somebody calling in. You must have some kind of experience with CB, right? All right. So okay. It says we need to change the Western diet, which is being globalized from being centered on meat, dairy, processed foods, and hybridized and genetically modified plant foods, to a diet that is centered on the consumption of alkaline plant foods. We must look to the plant foods that are indigenous to Africa or other areas of the world that share the same or similar environmental conditions, like Central and South America, the Caribbean, and India. These foods grow under the same conditions that supported and developed the indigenous genome, supported and developed the genome of the plants that have chemical affinities with the indigenous genome, which is the foundation of the human genome in all people. So basically, all people have the same indigenous genome, and that means the original people that God put here on the earth, that's the indigenous people. And inside of the makeup of their body, every human being on the earth has the basic indigenous genome. Okay, so moving on. Healing starts with removing foods that introduce toxins and pathogens that acidify the body, cause mucus buildup, cause chronic inflammation, and lead to the development of chronic disease. The World Health Organization released a report classifying the consumption of processed meat as carcinogenic to humans, and the consumption of red meat as probably carcinogenic to humans. That means carcinogenic to humans means cancer causing in the blood. So the processed meat is definitely cancer causing, and they're saying red meat probably causes cancer. Countless scientific studies support the assertion that animal protein and animal fat increase the risk of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and other chronic diseases. To support the healing process and homeostasis of all the organs and functions in the body, we need to return to a diet centered on the consumption of non-hybrid whole plant foods. This is the foundation for health and healing. To speed healing or to reverse complex diseases, we should also return to using natural alkaline non-hybrid plant herbs. The herbalist Dr. Sebi was pivotal in re-establishing the idea that alkaline non-hybrid plant foods had chemical affinities with the body and supported healing. His indigenous biomineral balance methodology of healing is based on the premise that food that raises the acidity level in the body and that causes the overproduction of mucus in the body is the root of disease. Basically, acidic and toxic laden foods continuously attack the body, cause a prolonged inflammatory reaction, and lead to chronic inflammation. Acute inflammation is a natural and health supporting process used to fight infection and to repair physical damage done to the body. When acute inflammation is not turned off, the process then attacks healthy cells in various areas of the body and leads to the development of various forms of disease. This compromises the protective mucous membrane that lines the organs and promotes excess mucus production, which in turn compromises the health of organs. We start with removing these foods from the diet, which include meat, dairy, processed foods, and unnatural acidic hybrid plant foods. Now, unnatural acidic hybrid plant foods is things like broccoli, cauliflower, celery, carrots. Those are just a few right off the bat. Those are acidic hybrid plant foods that are very unhealthy for the body. But we're gonna move down. Okay. It says this compromises the protective mucous membrane that lines the organs and promotes excess mucus production. So it compromises it and then promotes this mucus, which in turn compromises the health of organs. So we start with removing these foods from the diet, which include meat, dairy, processed foods, and unnatural acidic hybrid plant foods. A good place to start is with this list of foods based on the alkaline foods recommended by Dr. Sebi. Now this is the food list right here. Dr. Sebi's food list right here on the screen. See? Oils, nuts and seeds. See? Raw sesame seeds. Raw sesame tahini butter. Walnuts, Brazil nuts, and hemp seeds. That's it. All that other peanuts and all them hybrids is bad. Go up, go up to now. He says Tila for all natural herbal teas. Tila is a very very good for the body right there, especially females, because it's like an estrogen type thing. So I don't take it, but it's good for a female body, especially. See those mushrooms? It says mushrooms all except shit tech. That means don't go buying the shit tech mushrooms because those are the hybrid ones. And lettuce, all the lettuce except iceberg. So that cheap lettuce, that bag, the bag of lettuce that's the cheapest. That's usually the iceberg or iceberg mix. Watch out for that. Okay. So let's see. Down at the oils, okay, olive oil, coconut oil. See where it says do not cook? Okay, if you cook olive oil or cook coconut oil, it turns into acid, turns into basically poison for you. So it's not good. It's not good for you. System. You want to heat something up, heat up that avocado oil or that grapeseed oil, right? But okay, so let me read a little bit more. Alkaline plant foods and herbs support the alkaline body. The body succumbs to disease when it is acidified. Acidifying the body compromises the mucous membrane that protects organs, which leads to the development of chronic disease. Though the different areas of the body have various pH levels, we need to consume alkaline foods that maintain the 7.4 pH that the body maintains in the blood. The term pH stands for potential hydrogen and is the ability of the molecules to attract hydrogen ions. The higher the pH, the lower the amount of hydrogen is available. The lower the pH, the higher the amount of hydrogen is available. The scale for pH ranges from 0 to 14. The value 0 represents the highest acidic level, 7 is neutral, and 14 represents the highest alkaline level. Okay. Go on to talk about the pH levels of the stomach, the skin, the vagina, the pancreas, the intestines, and the blood. We won't get all into that though right now. Okay. Just a second. Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about this other book. It's actually his brother loaned me this book. After having a conversation, he went and got it and brought it back to me. And it's a book he took a class on. It's called Occupied America, A History of Chicanos, right? It's Mexican Studies, something like that, college book, but not. So basically, on this list, this Dr. Sebi's food list, you do not see corn, right? Corn, you don't see corn. And that, I had to look into that. Why isn't corn on the alkaline list when it it's indigenous, right, to the Americas? I mean, Dr. Sebi was born in Central America in Honduras. Uh, that's where corn originated at, right? So I had to look into it. So I'm gonna read out this book. The book is written by Rudolfo F. Acuna, right? Okay, so I'm gonna read to you the first chapter. The first paragraph in the book, first chapter. It says, not just explorers and heroes, right? The primary culture of Mexico and the Americas is Indian. Because this fact challenges the legitimacy of the conquest, many Western scholars minimize this truism and they respect or slight the histories of the Indians. Now, when he said the legitimacy of the conquest is them coming over here in basically the 1500s and conquering stuff, right? And then afterwards telling the story, right, in their favor. Anyway, it says Mesoamerican and Andean. Mesoamerican, that means Middle America, right? The middle, you have the North, Central, and South, so that would have been Central. That's all that means. And Andean civilizations, Andean is Southern America, right? South America. Did not need the Europeans to give them civilization, right? Mesoamerican and Andean civilizations did not need the Europeans to give them civilization. They are two of the world's cradles of civilization, rivaling other great civilizations in China, the Indus Valley, the Middle East, and Africa. The Mesoamerican and Andean civilizations share with them similar features. All of the cradles of civilization had a stable food source. This provided the people with an adequate supply of food to fuel a population explosion. In the Eastern Hemisphere, the basic grains were wheat, rye, oats, millet, and barley. In North America, corn was developed at least 9,000 years ago in what is today central Mexico, spread into what is now North America and the Andean region of South America. Corn was essential to the evolution of indigenous cultures. So much, corn made possible the changes in modes of production and helped mobilize labor to meet the challenges of population growth and cope with our environmental change. Corn, like the pyramids, was a product of human labor and ingenuity. Okay, so corn originated over here, all that good stuff. So why isn't it on Dr. Sebi's list, right? So it says, I'll read this. It says corn unified Native American cultures. Recent, hold up. No. It says, right here, it says the corn people, an overview. It says when the first modern humans migrated to what are called the Americas is not known precisely, but it is estimated to be about 20,000 to 30,000 years ago. Excuse me. So they're saying the first people migrated to the Americas 20 to 30,000 years ago. Okay, that's what this book say. Okay, so if you know your timelines, anyway. Corn unified Native American cultures. Recent studies show that people travel with the seed to various places in the Americas. Archaeologists discovered the remains of the largest human settlement in American Southwest dating from 760 BC to 200 BC, which included evidence of corn farming. The completeness of the corn culture supports the theory that Middle America farmers brought corn into the Southwest. Corn spread a culture that extended along what today is U.S. Interstate Highway 10. Okay, that goes through all the way through Louisiana and all that, into the eastern half of the United States, eventually becoming a staple throughout much of North America. The symbolic significance of corn and its role can be found in ceremony and ritual throughout Mesoamerica and the Southwest. The presence of corn was also found in modern-day Peru as early as AD 450. So AD 450, but it was in Central America in 9,000 years ago. Okay, they said. Now, this is why this last paragraph that I found is the reason why corn is not on this list. The European invasion put the corn cultures in danger of extinction. This threat continues today in places like the remote mountains of Oaxaca, Mexico, where of genetically modified organisms, GMOs, are invading the native corn. Mexico, which banned the commercial planting of transgenic corn in 1998, imports about 6.2 million tons of corn a year, mostly from the United States. They bring corn from the United States over there. About a quarter of the U.S. commercial corn crop contains GMOs. Now it's saying a quarter. because they don't want to piss nobody off. They saying the corn, and I believe personally it's 100% GMO laced. Okay, and after harvest it is mixed with conventional corn. As a result, much of the Mexican corn is now considered to contain low levels of background GMOs. So if all of their corn has background GMOs, then more than a quarter of this, where they get their corn from and where their corn is mixed with, must have more than a quarter of contents of GMOs, right? Anyway, this concerns Mexicans since GMO foods and seed are an environmental threat to wild plants and species such as the monarch butterfly. So what they making is endangered to the animal life. Okay. So that's why that when Dr. Sebi, rest in peace, the brother was an engineer. He was able to test the pH of all these plants and fruits and vegetables and things to see where it was. And that's how he was able to make this list. And when he tested that corn and and them GMOs came back, it was no good. So corn is indigenous though. Now in this book that the Mexicans was learning, right? It says, I found this in the back. It says forging a community. It says an important part of forming a community is concentrating enough people so they can fight for rights and as an education for one's children, such as an education for one's children. Without an education, a people are frozen into the lower castes. Segregated schools were an vehicle for whites to maintain control of the system. Ain't that a trip? Oh yeah, that right there. I found it at somewhere in the book. Uh, so this was written by a Mexican, obviously, right? Rudolfo Acuna, right? So he said in his book that segregated schools were an important vehicle for whites to maintain control of the system. Now, if I wrote a book and put something like that in it and gave it to, maybe somebody that even looked like me, and they read it, they'd be like, "Oh, you racist. You don't like whites, blah blah blah." When all it is the truth, right? It's the truth, right? Who did it and what they did, right? And you point that shit out. Uh, anyway, I'm gonna move on from that. Oh yeah, this just like they labeled us with all these different labels. They labeled the people down there too. They mixed them all up, did all this stuff. So everybody is don't know who the hell they is. Trying to figure that out, but at the same time, you got to know who you is embedded within the alkaline foods, alkaline herbs. Period. I showed in a previous video where the Indians gave the Spaniards herbs so they would stop dying from the illness they had. It said the illness went around the camp in the Spaniards, not the Spaniards and the Indians. The illness went around in the Spaniards camp. They got some herbs from the Indian that stopped them from dying. They stopped dying when they got the herbs from the Indians. So who is the Indians? The Indians was the same people that we see right now. They got us labeled as black, Negro, colored, free slave, freedmen, all that stuff going back. Now, so yeah. Go back and listen to what I was reading about Dr. Seby's, the whole thing. Because one thing it's not in the book, but one thing is 90 days. The trillions of cells in the body replace themselves every 90 days. So in order to fully get the body all the way right and healed, reverse sickness, reverse illness, you have to do 90 days. Okay, 90 straight days of what's on this list, period. And down here it says remember, drink 1 gallon of spring water daily. Most of the so-called spring waters in the bottles have oxidation, high parts per million oxidation. Oxidation in the blood causes cancer. So you have to research what water to try to get the one with the lowest oxidation parts per million, which I believe is the Crystal Geyser water. But you can get your own water, do your own research. I mean, what else you doing? What else are we out here doing? If it ain't getting right, getting right, yeah. But make sure you share and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. I got a couple of more videos I'm about to upload.